Alright folks, so Garmin's just launched two brand new Forerunners, the Forerunner 255 and the Forerunner 955, and these are two very capable sports watches, especially with how many new features they added with the 255. However, there are some differences between these two which may make you want to choose one over the other, so in this video I'm going to go over all the differences to help you decide which one's going to be right for you. So for what these watches have in common, they both come with tons of different sport profiles for tracking lots of different kinds of activities, including full triathlon support, which is something new on the Forerunner 200 series line of watches. They both come with barometric altimeters, again something new on the Forerunner 200 series. They both come with Garmin's new multi-band satellite system mode for increased GPS accuracy. They also both have native running power support with a compatible accessory. They also both have Garmin's new heart rate variability status, and they both have Garmin Pay. So as you can tell, these watches share a lot in common. So what exactly are the differences? So let's start out with some of the hardware differences. So for the 955, that comes in one size with a 46.5mm case and a 1.3-inch display. But the 255, that comes in two different sizes, a larger version with a 46.5mm case with a 1.3-inch display, and a smaller 255S, which has a 41mm case and a 1.1-inch display. So with the 255, you have some size options. And then for some other options, the 955 comes in two different versions. So there's going to be a regular 955 and the 955 Solar. And the 955 Solar has solar charging capabilities to extend the battery life, with a little ring around the display to harness that solar power, as well as the display itself, which has hidden solar panels beneath it. And I guess that's a good segue into battery life. So the regular 955 without solar charging, that can get up to 15 days of battery life as a smartwatch. And the 255, the larger version, can get up to 14 days. So just a smidge more using it as a smartwatch. And then the 255S, since it's a little bit smaller, gets up to 12 days of battery life. And then with the 955 Solar, with sufficient sun exposure, you may be able to get up to 20 days of battery life. And then for GPS battery life for recording outdoor activities, there's a much bigger difference there, where with the 955, you can get up to 42 hours in the regular GPS mode and up to 20 hours if you use the higher accuracy multi-band mode. With the 255, you can get up to 30 hours with the regular GPS mode and then up to 16 hours using the higher accuracy multi-band mode. And with the 255, that doesn't have a solar charging option, but it does have two different versions beyond just size. So there's a regular 255 and then a 255 Music. And with the 255 Music, you'll be able to download tracks to the watch itself from popular music services like Spotify, Amazon Music, as well as Deezer. So you'll be able to listen to your tunes with a pair of Bluetooth earbuds paired to the watch without having to have your phone with you. And then another difference between the 955 and the 255 is that the 955 gets a touchscreen along with physical buttons, where the 255 just uses physical buttons to get around the device. The Forerunner line of watches have used all physical buttons for years, and physical buttons are tried and true, and they always work whether you have sweaty hands, gloves on, and you can use them without looking if you'd like to. But don't worry, the 955, you can still just use physical buttons if you'd like to do everything. It's just that they added the touchscreen, which makes it more convenient in certain situations, like let's say just browsing through the widgets, scrolling through menus, typing on the screen, but where it really comes in handy is using the maps. And that leads us to the next big difference between them, and that's where the 955 gets full-blown topo and landscape maps. So these maps come in super handy when it comes to navigating during outdoor activities, where they just have tons of detail like street names, landmarks like lakes and rivers, trails, as well as even ski resort and golf maps. And with the 255, you don't get maps. However, you will still get a breadcrumb trail of your outdoor activity when you're doing it, and you can also load a predefined route to your device, which can help guide you, and you also have navigation options like having it direct you back to your start location. They also both come with Garmin's Up Ahead feature, which will show course points that you can specify when you create a custom route in Garmin Connect. Both have safety and tracking features like live track, instant detection, as well as requesting assistance. But the 955 also gets a feature called spectator messaging, and what this does is when you send out a live track link to friends and family, they can send messages to you during your activity. And the 955 also does have more onboard storage for not only the maps, but also music. So with the 255, you can store up to 500 tracks on the device itself, and with the 955, you can store up to 2,000. Oh, and really quick, if you're finding the information in this video to be useful, do me a favor and just hit that like button down below. It's a small little thing that you can do that'll help this video and the channel quite a bit, and I appreciate it. And then for health features, both of these have Garmin's 4th generation Elevate heart rate sensor, and they both also can track your blood oxygen saturation levels. They also both have Garmin's Health Snapshot feature, which can collect multiple metrics all at once, including your heart rate, SpO2 levels, stress levels, as well as respiration rate. In addition to that, both have Garmin's advanced sleep tracking, and both also can display your sleep information on the watch itself. And then both of these also do have Garmin's new heart rate variability status, where you can track your HRV trends, which can give you a good indication of how well you've recovered from previous training and whether you may or may not be ready for training on a particular day. However, one thing that the 955 has that the 255 does not is Garmin's new training readiness feature. And this goes beyond just HRV status to help you figure out if you're ready to train that day. So with training readiness, it gives you a general number from 1 to 100 that's based on numerous factors, not just your HRV status. So what it does is it factors in your last night's sleep, recovery time that was estimated based on your last training session, HRV status, your acute training load, which is your training load over the last 7 days, your sleep history, as well as stress history to give you a training readiness score. So a bit more advanced than what's offered on the 255. And then with both of these, they also both come with Garmin's morning report feature, which provides you with a snapshot of your day as well as information from the night before, like your sleep or HRV status. However, with the 955, it also can show your training readiness right on the screen. And then they both also do have Garmin's body battery feature, which is just another way of assessing your current energy levels based on previous training as well as sleep. And then for fitness and sports feedback, both of these can estimate both your running as well as cycling VO2 max. And both also do have Garmin's visual race predictor feature, which shows you predicted race times for common race distances based on your running history. And the reason these look differently, by the way, is that I have these paired to 2 different accounts and I wasn't necessarily doing the same activities all the time. And then both also can provide your training status. So this gives an indication of whether your current state of training is productive, unproductive, peaking, maintaining, recovering, overreaching, detraining, or strained. And then you can dive in even further to see your acute training load over the last 7 days, where you've been focusing your training load in regards to anaerobic, high aerobic, or low aerobic heart rate zones. You can see your VO2 max trends. You can see your heart rate variability status, as well as recovery time. But then the 955 also provides you with heat and altitude acclimation. So these metrics are how well you've adapted to heat as well as a particular altitude. But here's the thing with the 255, it still does factor in heat and altitude acclimation into your training status, but it's just not separated out like it is on the 955. And then the 255 and the 955 also have their new race widgets where you can schedule race events into your calendar, and these can show up here to help you keep on track and give you a little countdown to your next race. And these are pretty cool where when you add events to your calendar, it can actually automatically adapt your suggested workouts based on those events. So it's not just adding a calendar widget. There's actually a lot of neat things going on in the background in regards to what kind of training it suggests when you drop events into your calendar. Another thing that the 955 gets that the 255 does not is Garmin's real-time stamina feature. And this is an interesting feature where it can give you real-time feedback during training on your current energy level as well as how much potential you have for that particular training session. So what this does is it gives you an overall indication of how much energy you have for your workout called potential stamina, but then it also gives an additional data point called actual stamina, which is more of an at-the-moment indication. And how you can think about this is your potential stamina is kind of like your entire gas tank, and actual stamina is like kind of how much you can floor it at one given moment. So more like long-term aerobic capacity is potential stamina, and then short-term anaerobic capacity is actual stamina. And I have a more detailed explanation of this in my Phoenix 7 video, and I'll have that video linked on the description below if you want more information. And then for activity profiles, both of these have all the common activity profiles that you'd expect, like running both inside and outside, indoor and outdoor cycling profiles, pool swimming, and then both of these also do have open water swimming, which is actually something new to come to the Forerunner 200 series, as well as triathlon. And they both also come with a good amount of outdoor recreation profiles like skiing, snowboarding, and stand-up paddleboarding. However, the 955 also comes with a few additional profiles. So it also comes with an indoor rock climbing and bouldering profiles, some additional outdoor recreation profiles like backcountry skiing, a more specialized cross-country skate skiing profile, kayaking, some additional navigation profiles that leverage the maps on the 955 like mapping, navigation, project waypoint, and a TrackMe profile. There's also tennis, pickleball, and paddle, and then some more specific cycling profiles like road biking, gravel, bike commuting, as well as cyclocross. And the 955 also gets a golf activity profile where you can use their worldwide golf course maps to navigate, which are preloaded on the device. And one more thing I wanted to point out in regards to activity profiles is that although both of these do have a mountain bike activity profile, the 955 also can collect Garmin's grit and flow data points, which are specifically designed for mountain biking. So grit is going to be an indication of how challenging or rough the terrain is on the trail that you're riding, and then flow is going to give an indication of how well you're riding in regards to your momentum. And related to that, we should also talk about what kind of external sensors these watches support. So both of these watches can pair up to a bunch of external sensors, including heart rate sensors, foot pods for running, speed and cadence sensors for cycling, power meters for cycling, barrier radar and lights, smart bike trainers, and a whole bunch more. But with the 955, that also can pair up with a few additional devices like Garmin's InReach satellite communication devices, muscle oxygen sensors, as well as cycling shifting like Shimano Di2. And beyond just the types of sensors that they can support, there's another difference I wanted to point out. So although both of these can pair with cycling power meters, the 955 can actually report more information from power meters that can collect more advanced cycling dynamics, like let's say the Garmin Rally pedals. So with the 255, you still get your power output like your average power, max power, and your normalized power. It's all great information to have. But with the 955, you get additional data points that can be collected with more advanced cycling power meters like left and right power balance. And then if you have power meter pedals like let's say the Garmin Rally pedals that are going to report even more data, you also get your platform center offset, which is the portion of the pedal itself where you're placing power, your power phase, which indicates your power at different portions of your pedal stroke, as well as torque effectiveness and pedal smoothness. Oh, and if you're curious on the running side of things, like I was mentioning before, both of these can collect running power with a compatible accessory, but unlike the differences in the cycling power meter, both the 955 and the 255 can also report the same exact advanced running dynamics like vertical oscillation, ground contact time, and stride length. So there's actually no difference there on the running external sensor side of things. So as you can tell, both of these watches offer a lot, but there may be specific reasons why you may want one over the other. And seriously, with how many features that they added to the 255 versus the previous generation 245, the 255 is super, super capable. And that actually does bring up another fact, is that with how many features that are on the 255 now, it basically replaces the 745. So if you're considering the 745 versus the 255, get the 255. And that's really the thing, is that this is an effort to consolidate Garmin's Forerunner lineup into more distinct models. So you're going to have the high-end 955 and 955 Solar. You're going to have the 945 LT, and yes, that is hanging around, by the way, the 255 Music, the 255, as well as the Forerunner 55. So still plenty of options there, but probably easier to draw a line in between each one. And by the way, they are bringing a lot of the new features that come with the 955 to the 945 LT, so that is great news to hear. Anyhow, I hope this video helped explain the differences between these two very capable watches. And if you have any questions about anything I didn't cover in this video, make sure to leave those in the comments section down below. And if the information in this video did help you out at all, don't be shy about hitting that like button, and also subscribing to the channel for plenty more sports tech videos that are right around the corner. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.